Hey everyone, I'd like to welcome you to my Great Leader presentation of Betty Ford. My name is Jason Hill. I'm a senior majoring in computer science, and I'd like to talk to you about Betty Ford tonight. Betty was born Elizabeth Ann Bloomer in 1918 in Chicago, Illinois. She died 2011 in Rancho Mirage, California. She was the only daughter and third child of William Bloomer Sr. and Hortense Neer. She was also married twice, the first time to William Warren in 1942 and divorced him 5 years later. And the second time was to Gerald Ford in 1948. So some of the things that made Betty Ford who she was the influences that she had throughout her life. And there was a couple of circumstances that happened, or a few circumstances that happened that really I want to focus on. First one was when her father died when she was 16 years old. He died from asphyxiation due to carbon monoxide poisoning, working on the family car in a closed garage. The reason why this was important is her mother ended up having to support the family. And she supported the family working as a real estate agent. It was at this time that Betty first learned of the inequalities that women faced and the inequality in pay that they faced. Second thing she witnessed firsthand was when her first husband fell ill due to acute diabetes, and she had to support herself and her husband. And again, she witnessed firsthand the inequality in pay and the inequalities that women struggled with at that time. And then after there were some odd circumstances that happened for her to actually be in the White House at all. But shortly after arriving at the White House, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And she was very open and public about her treatment and outcome of her diagnosis. And this happened in 1974. And while she was in the White House and in Washington before that, she was known to be an alcoholic and abused prescription drugs. And it was after that she left the White House that there was an intervention that her family put her through, and she eventually went into rehab to battle this. And of course she was very outspoken with that. After she came out of rehab, she spoke about it and spoke how she could better treat women and others that went through this process. And of course, due to all of this, she was a big proponent of Equal Rights Amendment. The Equal Rights Amendment never passed, but she was a big supporter and really did a lot for that cause. So some of the personality descriptions that I saw that Betty had: she was very sincere, she was open and honest, she was bold. She would not just fall in line with what the administration and the political leaders at that time wanted her to do. She just spoke her mind. So with that, she was outspoken. If she saw something that was not right, or she didn't think were equal in how they were done, she spoke out about it. And she was very direct about it. Didn't beat around the bush. She just spoke her mind and said what she was thinking. So some of the values that I saw in Betty was, of course, her leadership skills. She per se wasn't a leader that was elected or came into office, but she knew she had influence as First Lady, and she used that in several circumstances. And after leaving Washington, she used it throughout her life. She was honest, and maybe to a fault. When asked a question, she would speak what she thought was right and what she thought was honest. And of course, that she was very candid with that. Like I said, she would just speak her mind. And inequality, anything she saw that was unequal, she would bring attention to it. She never backed down. So what made Betty a good leader? She was an authentic leader. She went through struggles. She had problems. She did not back down from her struggles. She admitted it. She was truthful about it. And she because of that, she was able to help a lot of people and get help for them. Again, she was outspoken. whenever she saw issues that needed to be addressed, she would speak about them. And again, she did not play politics while as First Lady, and actually went against a lot of what the party that her husband was affiliated at the time, and she would not always agree with her husband, which at that time was big. And again, she was candid. Anytime she was asked questions or just anything, she would speak her mind and then let know what she thought was the truth and just how she was. So her leadership style, I would say, is democratic. She was part of the political scene, being First Lady, and she really, that was the best way I would describe. She had team management style. She valued interpersonal relationships. She was real sincere. She was highly motivated. Whenever, like I said, whenever she saw something, she would go after it. She was organized, and she would get people working for her. And again, she was authentic and genuine. So some of the qualities that I saw in Betty was, again, she struggled. She knew she struggled. She was open about that, and because of that openness, she was able to get help for other people. When she was diagnosed with breast cancer, she spoke out about it, which was, you didn't do that at that time. It's kind of hush hush. That was a personal thing, but she was open to the public. She talked about it. She was able to get a lot of women from there got breast exams, were able to not go through what she did. Again, just open, truthful about everything that she went through, and she was good at it. So she had many accomplishments. She was First Lady of the United States. She got a lot of honorary degrees and a lot of awards, presidential awards. But really, to me, her biggest accomplishments were, again, the circumstances she went through. She faced them head on and rose to the occasion each and every time. Okay, so again, the biggest reason I chose Betty is reading about her in our case study in our book. It really I was taken aback by it because, some of the circumstances. She and her husband were ready to retire before he was actually nominated or really chosen to be vice president after Agnew resigned due to some circumstances. And from there, we might have never known Betty if that had not happened, but from there, she took the things by the horn and just went with it. Again, she was authentic. Each and every time, in my opinion, she rose to the occasion of when things happened, circumstances in her life, she just rose to the occasion. And she was genuine. I don't think you could meet anybody more genuine. Again, to a fault maybe, but I really wouldn't call it a fault. It's a fault to maybe some of those in political offices that did not like what she was doing. But again, she was just transparent and was an activist. And I'd like to read a quote that Rosalind Carter, at her eulogy, she said, she is perhaps best described someone who was willing to do things a bit differently than they had been done before, someone who had the courage and the grace to fight fear, stigma, and prejudice wherever she encountered it. Betty Ford's transparency and activism saved countless American lives and inspired new generations of women to speak out about important political matters. President Ford himself admitted that when the final tally is taken, her contribution to our country will be bigger than mine. And that concludes my presentation. I want to thank everyone for listening to me, and I can't wait to hear your presentations. Thank you.